Hello, doilies. We're here. I see
Hi, Doyle.
we have some friends. We have Janice here and Christina's here and Candace and Rona. I am opening this chat and read women. I'm opening this chat and read comments when I get home.
We'll read comments, I bet she's going to say.
Okay, for my birthday dinner. All right,
Oh,
Candace.
happy
Well,
birthday.
happy birthday, Candace. All right.
Are you going to the Duke of Dirkworth to have your birthday dinner by any chance?
Do you know what else I was thinking about that? I was thinking they never really show them eating. It's like rare. There's a few occasions when they do. And there's some cute little things that they do,
They have a dinner with, all the special guests later on.
Yes. So that's kind of cool. But anyway, so we're in season 3. And those of you that are here, I hope you keep coming back because we have some guests that will be with us. And not sure exactly what the dates are yet because we're ironing it all out. But while we're in season 3, we will have some guests, which I'm excited about. Are you
Yeah,
excited, Kathy?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The person behind me is not one of them, just to manage your expectations. We
Yes.
don't want to mislead you, but yeah.
One day Alan will be here. I didn't even ask him actually. I haven't even had 2 minutes to even go there to think about it. So we're talking about the first episodes of season 3.
For the first half, episodes in
Yes.
the first half.
Yes, episodes of the first half. And I really have like some intense notes because I love season 1. Don't get me wrong, and there's many things in season 1 that I loved, especially because Jake and Leslie are together and even Mal and the family is forming.
The
And
Republic.
yes, the Republic, and I we're getting to meet these recurring characters. I love season 2, but I feel like there's like this spark that really just ignites in season 3 and keeps on going. So I have to point out though something important happened, and we talked about this, Kathy, in the very last episode of season 2, and that's with at different times both of the characters admitted their love for each other. Um, but Jake tells her, "I love you," right? He tells
Mhm.
Leslie, "I love you," but Leslie doesn't tell Jake she loves him. What happens is, um, it's that scene with Mal where she's crying and she sits down and he's like, I know you both love each other. One day you'll get it together. And she's like, she says, I'm in love. I'm in love with Jake. And it messed
You
like
know
mess.
I'm in love with Jake, right? And he's
Yes.
like, well, yeah.
Yes. Right there. So anyway, they would have gotten together if that whole thing where he took her badge. I mean, he was there with, we talked about this
He
last.
was desperate. I can't fault him for that.
I know.
He
Neither
should have
can I.
told her, though. That's what I fault him for.
Yes. And he had roses and he had champagne for her. And when they shut that door, she was crying because she loves him and she was mad because she got fired. And he was so devastated. And they're on that each side of that door of each other.
Yeah.
So now we've got the I love you there. We know he's in love. He's admitted it. He knows it. So in this season, in the beginning, we still see him. I think he would totally be all in because he's been trying very hard. He even got got her job back as a freaking meter maid, as she says. I think that you could see how he kind of stays away from the women. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. He's starting to grow into the role of a man who's really in love, which has never happened to him before. And
Yes.
so he's kind of shedding that whole playboy skin
Right.
and understanding what it means to be in love.
So months have gone by when season 3, episode 1 opens up, and you see Jake terrorizing the neighborhood as a cop, and he even holds the one character Jimmy over and winds up breaking his leg. He holds him over the side of the building. There's like this whole big thing. So I loved that. I'm going to show you something real quick. I have some of these things. So this is Russell Crowe and Alan Hocko, and they are friends, and Alan wanted to have Rusty, as you call him, on, and he wanted to do it with all the merry men. So the actors are all in his Robin Hood movie. So they play Russell, Wolf, Donnie, and Jimmy, and all four of them are Robin Hood and his merry men, and they're in this episode together, which I thought was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. And the other thing that I mean, there's just like such great conversation and banter and just little pieces that I picked out. And one of my favorite scenes in that episode is when he needs her help. So he takes the briefcase in the middle of the road, and she's really in the middle of one of St. John's roads, doing traffic. She learned. She actually worked with the
I heard that the drivers didn't know that it was
Yep.
filming, and they were like getting ticked off at her.
Yep.
For the way she was directing traffic.
I know. I think that's funny. And he's asking her for her help, and she's just like tearing him up. He's like, I've been calling you. She's like, I'm done. Don't come near me. Walk away. What is it? She says, stay away, and I don't want to see you anymore. Like, she's like, I love what she says to him. Listen, if you don't go away, I'm going to kick the shit out of you in front of everyone.
And she meant it.
He knows he's done bad. So he walks away and he has to get Des to help him. He's like, I can't believe this. And it's funny because they really did. At the end, they stopped. They retired. Mal and Rose retired. Desi moved on. Tinny moved on. They all moved on. And yet they didn't, because they missed it, and they all wind up having to come back.
Yep.
I love it. There's a couple other things that I like here. What is it you like about this episode? Or what do you want to say?
It's just more validation every single time they had if it was up to Jake alone, they would have been together from like the first part of season 2. They would have been a couple straight through to the end of the series. That would have been that. But Leslie, it's almost like Leslie is looking for reasons to, I think maybe she was afraid of her feelings for him or something, or she just couldn't come to terms with it, because she tried to find every excuse in the book to break up with him.
I know.
But I mean, oh my gosh, I really do love Jimmy and Wolf. And I think this was the first time we saw them?
Not Wolf. It was the first time we saw Jimmy and Donnie. We see Wolf with them, and then we also figure out the boss is Russell Crowe. Yeah.
I've got to say, I'm trying to think of the name of the agent who was killed, because they said her name a zillion times in the show.
Oh, it's Donnie's wife, Squire.
So Donnie is the one I wanted. If he doesn't look like Christopher Walken's younger brother, I'm like, I had to look twice. Like, and then I'm looking at the credits. Is his last name Walken? I've never seen anything like it.
And his voice and his diction and the whole thing. So what I loved about this is, like, in between the seriousness was hilarity. And there's a point where Jake gets I love how he gets out of stuff. Like, he really uses his brain, like we know who's writing, but they write it up so that he really can maneuver himself around. He has to go to the bathroom, and he says, I have to go. Who's going to take me? What if I have to go poo?
Number 2, yeah.
Yeah. So they're arguing. Donnie and Jimmy are arguing. Blah, 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 blah. So stupid Jimmy takes him, and then, he conks him out. And then, but Donnie is choking on a carrot. He's like, I'll be back. I will help you. So as he's helping them to do the Heimlich maneuver, you breathe out. And he's like, you almost killed me. Now he's tied up and he's in the car. And then they wind up putting Russell Crowe in the trunk. And that's when he finds out they're cops. He's like, oh my God, they're all police.
They do such a good job on that show at walking the line between hilarious and real dramatic tension. It's just that they do a phenomenal job of that. And they move so smoothly in between the two. It's just amazing. But I love that episode. Now I'm picturing him shoving Crowe in that trunk, and that bit he did when he was tased. Oh my word,
that was good, right?
Yep. And holding Jimmy, where all he had left were the shoes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
But Russell Crowe's
he's a big fella,
and he's just trying to drag him along. I thought that was fantastic. I think the bloopers and the filming of that would have been great. Oh my God.
Yep.
So there's a couple other things that are in here that I love, but another thing that I really liked too was they get to the point where they're at the end, And if you hear anybody moving around, my niece is with me. They get to the end where they figure out who it was, which is the cop, which is the well, he's the police officer, not the police officer. What is he? Sergeant? What is he? He's the one in
Constable?
charge. Pardon me?
The constable?
No, he's the one in charge of the whole like he's the one that wanted Jake to work for him, and then he's the one that's dirty and he's been gun running and all that.
Oh, I can't think of his name,
Okay.
but it seems like everybody in that role is got an
Yes.
issue. Yeah.
So wait a minute. So it's the end and they're all got their guns pointing at each, and Jimmy's like, who am I supposed to point my gun to? All of them have guns, and then they all shoot each other. Like Russell
Let's talk about a circular firing squad. That was it.
Russell Crowe shoots Donnie in the shoulder to save his job.
Yeah.
And then Jake gets shot in the leg, and Jimmy gets shot in his good leg, and then the cop, he gets shot too. I'm like, the only person I don't think that got shot was Russell Crowe.
That again hysterical.
Oh my God. It was like so. Now, how about orchestrating that? That must have been great. And the special effects guy, I really want to have him on because I know it's a gentleman and not a woman. I want to have him on because they were like blowing up stuff. The chase was a real chase. They were on real streets, really doing that chase where they spin their car. And of course, the merry men were in that red mommy van.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it was like pretty cool. Now there's another part that I thought that was great is when Leslie hears that he's a wanted man. Mal and Rose are kissing on the couch and they look over at the TV and they see he's a wanted man, right? Des comes in with the money. So the next thing that you see is when they're going into his apartment, his office.
Oh my God, someone ransacked. No, this is the way Jake lives.
It's Rose. No, it's the way Jake lived. It's just like their comedic timing is perfect.
Oh, the chemistry of that cast.
I know.
Bar none, it's the best.
It's really good. And I don't know. I love when Leslie's in there looking for the bullet, right? In that room where I can't even get my words out. What was it? Their witness was shot and killed, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she's looking it over, and Rose shows up, and she's like, "I'm coming in. I'm helping you." And she's like, why are you doing? She goes, "We all love Jake, even you. Like, we know why you're here. So tell me what you have. Like, what are we pussyfooting around here?"
Leslie thought about it for me. She's like, "Okay, you're right. You got me."
She's like, and so they do it. So they figure it out. They find the bullet. But in the very end, they always wind up back at the Duke, right? So they're having a whole conversation. She's like, "Oh, they reinstated me. What are you going to be now? My partner?" And he's like, "No, I've had enough." And she's like, "Well, good. You know what? Stay away from me." Like, she just spews all kinds of rotten, and she's a biatch.
She's trying desperately to not be in love with him.
Yes.
That's the whole thing. And she can't stay away from him.
Yes.
As we see throughout the season. So she's trying to get him to stay away from her. But it's like, have you met him? That's not going to happen.
Now, our friends that are here, Rona and Candace and Christina, you're so quiet.
And Mary.
And Mary's here. Hi, and Jan, my computer is working, right? I'm just curious, what are your feelings about the beginning of season 3, about that episode? If there's anything you want to share, please let us know. I want to hear what you have to say. I don't know. For me, this is when I started to get sad because I'm like, I'm in season 3 and there's only 6 seasons. And I don't know. I'm getting nervous here. Christina's like, yes, I was so mad about that with Leslie. I wrote something because she keeps going for so many episodes. I have a note. Look at my crazy notes. So mad at her. Like, this is when, we get even further in because she's like wicked in what she says. She's trying everything in her power to hurt him.
It's not working.
No. He takes though a lot of crap. We'll get to that when it come over to. We're going to do what, the episode 2, head over heels. Anything you wanted to add that I'm missing?
for the Rusty Crow episode.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
I know Leslie made me so sad when she told Jake off. I know, me too. She did because he gets blamed for a lot of things. Like she says this in the next episode.
And he never, I don't believe he ever once told her off when he had good reason to sometimes.
Yeah. I haven't gotten back up to season 3 yet. I just think the whole show is wonderful. Thank you, Jan. So savor it. I hope we're not like spilling the beans. We're just making you, it'll make you,
We're whetting your appetite.
yeah, eager to get there. It's true. He never did tell her off. I wish he was angry with her just once. Like
The closest, yeah, we aren't in that season yet. He came close one time, but
yeah,
he didn't really go full bore. And
yeah.
I think it's interesting how everybody, even the peripheral characters, as you go through the show and go through all the seasons, you'll find that everyone in their universe, no matter how small the character, they knew that those two were in love.
Everybody
They always had Leslie's number.
Yes, they always said that. I loved
Mhm.
it. I loved when they said that to
Yeah.
her. So now we are let's see. I think you are right. She tried to not love him, but she couldn't do it. And it's not because he's not worthy of it, because he's a great man. He's very protective. There are some lines that come along where he says some stuff, and even Mal, he gets it from his father because his father's like that too.
But
And
he was very misunderstood, I think. We can see that. But I think the people who were close to him, one of you ladies said it last week, I think, that he really assumed the role of the older sibling in that family.
Sam
He
did,
took care of everybody. He protected everybody.
yes.
And I think that's part of Leslie's whole thing. She sees what a great man he is, what a great person he is. And I think it terrifies her. And that's why she keeps trying to push him away, because she's got this laser focus. I'm a cop. I'm going to rise to the top. I'm going to be one of the brass. And, that's all there is to it. Nothing's going to stop me, least of all this strange little man who, is trying to get with me. Not going to happen.
And as time goes on, we get to see why she behaves that way.
Mm-hmm.
It takes us a while, but we get to hear just even when they unravel, like about her sister and her father and their relationship. And then we get even a little more after that. Jan said, I just don't know why the police just don't follow Jake's lead. It's true, because
Thank you. Yeah.
you want to know why, though? I think it's very realistic, because certain jobs attract certain personalities, right? So one of the personalities that most police officers or type, you know what I'm trying to say? I'm trying to say, but not make it like it's a stereotype, but there are some truth in stereotypes, is a person that is a bit narcissistic. Like they can do everything and they're going to do everything, and they don't need your help kind of attitude too. And I think that's what it is. It's their ego that's a little bit in the way, But
that statement isn't completely true about Leslie.
No, you're right.
Because one of the things, the running threads is, no matter how much she tried to keep him at arm's length, when he needed something, she caved. She's giving him files and information.
Yes, she
all
did.
kinds of stuff.
Yes.
And he's doing the same for her. He's calling her with tips or giving her, the steer what direction she'd be looking. So in a sense, they really were partners. It just wasn't official. But they behaved very much like partners.
I agree. And I'm talking about Jan's where she's talking about the police. I meant the police in general.
Oh, yeah.
They came up against several people that gave them a hard time, but they also got the help of many on the inside that would help Mal, give them a few minutes with something, sneak something. So it was almost like a half and half kind of thing. What would Jan say? That's taking care of everyone. It's in part of Jake's DNA. Yes. Christina's saying throughout the whole show, those two go back and forth. It laugh out, like even Jake was confused about the relationship at times.
But she always made it clear when she wanted him. And it's like,
yes,
get over here.
Get over here. And
she always freaked out when he was hurt or she thought he was hurt.
Yeah.
He couldn't deal with that.
Oh. And Jan is saying she agrees with me, so she's my best friend for the moment. And their ego does take the lead.
Mhm.
We're always friends, but she's my best friend. And Chris, hello, you're here. She wasn't sure if she could make it. So now in Head Over Heels, a really fun fact. Let's see. I want to share something with you really quick. Okay. One of the things that I loved is that, so it starts off with them having an argument because they're doing repos and they're like, why are we doing repos? Because it's money. Look out there, Des. Be the person on the lookout. And Des gets, oh my God, he really gets hit by a car. And they are like, like you could see how they were going back, bickering back and forth, and then went into seriousness.
Yeah.
So when he winds up in the hospital, this is something I wanted to, I took these straight off. I was watching, took them straight off of my TV. If you pay attention and you look at the laptop that of Dez's, you're going to see on the outside like his graffiti, because that's how they met. Remember, he would
Mhm.
graffiti the walls, but and the buildings, but because he's matured and he stopped doing that, his art is showing up in little pieces like this, which is like such good writing that they must have like a profile on this character and they just use it. You know what I mean? Now he's in
Mhm.
college. That was fun too. We see that he's in college because when they wanted to go get his help, Jake had to go find him when he was coming out of the campus.
I think he was taking a course in how to hook rugs.
I thought it said women's studies.
I don't know. Or he did take, maybe he took a course in that too, but he definitely took a course in hooking rugs.
I know. So I thought that was great. And I love how there's a storyline and another storyline. So Martin pulls back and so Rose walks in.
I love that guy so much.
Look, you broke into my house. Thank you very much. And then he drugs her and she falls down.
What did you?
She really falls. That wasn't like we watched her go. That
Mhm.
was not a stunt person. They never took their eye, the camera off of her face. And I love that he's like, I'm back. I need the money. And she goes, how much? He's like, 200. She's like, I could do that. No, 200 grand. What? And this is the part that is one of my favorite things because it shows about the Republic. When she says, we paid off the house and we took that money and we made trust funds for Tinny and Dez's college.
Yeah.
Like he's theirs.
He's a member. He's a family. He's part of the Republic.
He is. And I was like, oh, I love that. And let's see. Oh, oh my God, the stuff that they say, like when Leslie meets him up in the hospital, she doesn't want Jake to take part in trying to figure out what was going on with Des, but of course he doesn't listen. So she has words about that. She's like really mean with him again. So this is when like the father is saying to him when after Leslie shows up and they have words, the father says to him, and that's look at his face. And he says to him, like, what happened with you? Like, and you're courting, like how he courts. He said it's like it's reverse. Like, what in the world? Like he's telling him, oh my God, like get it together. I thought that was funny. Now, an interesting thing with Rose right here. So the character's name was Frances Lamont, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the actress is Shannon
Tweed. Yeah.
And I don't know if everyone knows this, but she is the wife of Gene Simmons, the singer from
Yes,
Kiss.
yeah.
Yes. So they always have the coolest characters on. Let's see what Christine said. Oh, Chris is saying. Christine's saying, Des is so cute in such a nerdy way. He really is. And Jan's like, yes, he's part of the family, part of the Republic.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, we all love him. So I have a fun, interesting thing, a tidbit that I found, and I'm going to try my best to see if I can get my hands on it. I was telling Kathy that one of the writers, the book we love, and we've been showing off the book. Hold on, before I go on, let's see what happens with that. Oh, that comes soon. So let's look at that for a while.
Oh, nothing to see here. Move along.
Nothing to see here. Move along. So I loved it because the book is by Carrie McDonald, and she's also, one of the big writers. And she wrote, I found in 2012, this series that had 11 episodes, was on the CBC, just like this is. and it was called Diary of a Deadly PI. And I saw, oh, Mark O'Brien starred in it. And even Mark wrote it with her, who was Des. And then I looked up to see what his character's name was, and his name was Des Courtney. And I'm like, this is related to Republic of Doyle. What is this? So I asked Stephanie Beaumont, if you all tuned in, we met with her. She was the one who had the C by Scene and would always interview. And she's like my Allie Devereaux for When Calls the Heart, knows all the tidbits. I always go back to her. And she said it was something that they did digitally, like it was like a digital CBC. They took it off of YouTube and off the air and whatever else. So I'm going to do my best to get it, because I think it would be wonderful to watch and see, especially
Absolutely.
it's focusing on Des. And it looks like it comes out around season 3. So that would be something fun. So, okay. So they have the big fight in the hospital. She says to him, back off. He can't back off though, because this is Des. This is his family. He's going to help him out and figure it all out as best he can. And then he winds up getting tied to, now this is what I love. He gets tied up, right? And he really, in this scene, you could tell he's got nothing on here, okay?
Well, he had his little sake thing on. They all do.
Right. So when he walks away, she's like, okay. He's like, can I put clothes on? Walks away. She looks at his behind.
She this time she did check him out for sure.
She did. And I love when he says, she goes, this better not be about Des. And he goes, oh, this is something bigger here. And she looks down and she goes, yeah, well, not from where I'm standing.
She was so mean.
She was mean. I'll remove that. That's from later.
That scene, they redid. Can you pull that back? Oh, you're going to talk about it later?
That's scene 3. That's episode 3. Yeah.
Okay.
Which one? Oh, what? The naked one?
No, the flamingos.
Yeah, that's for episode 3. Look, Jan wants to know what the sake thing is.
When men do nude scene, or when male actors do nude scenes, they're not completely nude. They wear this little sock thing.
It's not a G-string, actually.
Over their appendage, so that they're not completely out there. And here's just an interesting tidbit I found out. There's actually, and I don't know the name of it, there's actually an item of cloth that's kind of thin that is used for the actor and actress when they're supposed to be simulating lovemaking. They're really not touching uglies, so to speak. So I've learned a lot since I got introduced to Republic of Doyle. Not that they used it, but just
Well, we also learned that they have the rubber ball and the thing in between them, and it depends upon where you are and what country. You need to have 2 or 3 things that separate you. Remember when we have the coach on, and she was telling us some stuff too, right?
Yes, I did. Have we tried to get the intimacy coordinator for Republic of Doyle, or did they have him then?
I don't know, but that would be something cool to find out, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we find out Martin was shot in the butt by his ex-wife, his previous wife, right? So
well, we know she was a jealous maniac.
He gets tied up, and he's sitting there for so long, and he convinces what's her name, the Shannon on the show, what's her name, Frances. He says, my ass is really hurting me. My ass. After we see her look at Jake's butt, it's the scene where he's like, my ass is hurting me. And the way he words things is like hysterical. I loved it. I loved it so much. So Leslie says, this is where I wrote so mad. Leslie says that Jake has no regard for consequences for his actions, and how he might as well have killed Des, and you're trying to kill Des, and you don't have any friends, and all that dozen of people that, like, she was.
Yeah, but there was kind of a grain of truth in some of that. His only friend is Walter. And how many times did he nearly get Des killed? And he does come up with these plans and just goes full speed ahead and doesn't think about the aftermath. So she could have said it more kind, but she kind of had a point for some of those things.
This is where we hear about the apple flip, because he's hot. Jake hides from Leslie because she's so mean to him.
Was that which? Oh yes, her and him and Hood.
And Hood helps him with the apple, and he gives him an apple flip, and then and she's like, "How did you get one of them? You could have asked me." Blah, blah. And then the phone rings, and he's laying down. He's like, "Oh yeah, like you're not afraid of her."
Yeah,
And they
you're not afraid of her, right?
right, and they get in the car and they drive off. I love it. I love it, but I was also mad because I thought she was extra mean to him. Now, Walter, something that's running through all of the show, and they're so good again with the details, is Walter and his hookers. It's like he's always with hookers. So he's supposed to be babysitting this guy, and the guy brings over hookers, and he winds up locked up in the little bathroom with them. He's
Except for when he went for Jake's sister.
oh wow.
Well, that's later on. That's later on.
Yeah. That was a little, I wanted them to be together.
I did too. Maybe they could be in the movie.
Yes, yes. So one at Martin Pool, when they finally Mal finally finds Rose. Rose clocks with the little handheld cooler, clocks Francis in the head, knocks her out. Next thing you do, you see her. They're all at Rose's house, and Rose and Mal are having an argument in the background, and Martin's making steaks, and he says, "Not once if you want it rare, or not twice if you want it rare." Like she's all tied up, and he's making her a steak, and he goes, "Don't listen, don't pay. They're really a beautiful couple." That's what he says to her. Oh my God.
You know, it's amazing. As many times as each of those characters have taken multiple blows to the head, there isn't any coma. There's no brain damage. It's just amazing to me that they always get cold cocked in the head and they just bounce right back.
My dad's and I talked about this, and some people on the Acorn app, they don't like Republic of Doyle because of it. They said it got old, and I was like, "There's so much more to that story than what's you by you saying that. That's a tiny piece of it, but it's almost like the Three Stooges. How many times did they get hit and cold cocked and banged and whatever? And it's that kind of a little flare of that kind of a thing, but that
absurdist comedy. Yeah.
Yeah. Christina, what is ARS? It's ARS. What does that mean? I'm curious. What is she saying? I think when we were talking about the cloth and yeah, and all that.
Okay. Not ass, arse. Is that what she's trying to say?
Arse. Oh, Christina, you're right. He doesn't say he does. Well, wait a minute. Martin Poole said ass. He didn't say arse. He said my ass is hurting me because that threw me because they all do say arse. You're right. You're right. So, yes, arse. Rona, thank you. What's Jan saying? I know, Kathy. I have thought that there should have been some issue after being hit in the head so many times.
Now, I do think that there was some issue with Des, but who can tell?
Right. And once in a while, there was an issue with Jake.
Oh, I loved it when he would be all out of it.
Yeah.
Because of a blow to the. No, that was he got drugged and acted real weird. But I don't know if it was because of a blow to the head.
And in the end of that episode, they drug Martin and leave him in the chair, and they said we'll kick him out in the morning.
But even Martin, with all of he was so annoying and caused so much trouble. But even with that, you could tell he was part of the Republic too. Now, he may have been kind of more on the periphery, but I think Mal and Jake ended up having some form of affection for him too, because he just kept popping up like a bad penny, like the black sheep of the family.
They helped him get away with his wife the first time. Also, they help him out whenever they can. They just don't. And he's cooking in their kitchen, making a steak.
I'm still working on knock once for rare and not twice for medium. Oh my word, who writes this stuff?
Well, well, that's another thing. Well, Perry did, and Carrie, and I forget who else. Wait, Mark Critch shows up in this, And I love he's Ned and he pops up. Like that's another thing. He's a recurring character. Martin's a recurring character. So in episode 1, they have all these new characters, right? Except they do have one more recurring, that's Wolf. They always do that. Now in the next episode, they have recurring characters. Of course, we get new characters, but Martin's back. We see Ned in, which is Mark Critch popping up. He's really in the next episode, he has all kinds of jobs. He's working in this one, he's working at the like auto part place. Like,
is this with his wife?
Junk? No. His wife, they got a divorce.
Right.
He's like, I have to pay money out. So he's all these stupid jobs. Oh my God. And he says some really dumb things. And then he's like, well, I got it for 150. Well, no, probably 200. Well, about 230. And the whole time Jake just looks at me. He can't stand him. He gets mad at Ned. Like he gets mad at Des. Oh my God.
Can't you tell that just the way he acts now, you just said it triggered me when he was like, he just gives these looks. Like when Des is going off on some tangent, or Ned, or just some other character, Jake will give a look that convinces me he's going to turn into Mal. When he's that age, he's going to be exactly the way Mal is right now.
Stuff Mal says. He has such great one-liners. So now it's the end of the episode, and they're all at the Duke, right? Because after they drug Martin, she's like, let's go have a beer, So they go a pint. Let's go have a pint. And they're there, and they're like, where is Des? Because Rose didn't even realize Des was hit by a car because she was kidnapped. All that was going on at the same time. And so they're like, he's right behind you. And then right behind him is Tinny. And that's when they find out that Tinny is back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Des figured it out. Because when she called to make sure he was okay. Yeah, I know. I love it. And I don't know, their relationship gets a little more serious, Tinny and Des, in this season. Yeah, they're a slow burn.
Yeah, they were very off and on.
Yeah,
push and pull.
Well, they're still really young,
She kind of reminds me of Leslie in a lot of ways.
It's true. You're right.
She treats her man.
Yes. So now in episode 3, which is Hot Package, right? Where they've got that smelly body. So in the beginning, they do this every now and then. And I feel like, do they do it? I don't know if it's the first time they did it in season 2 where because it was the real Des Courtney. Will the real Des Courtney stand up? It's where they start with a huge, like a big scene, right? Yes, I'm putting that up there. You're right. Before we go on, Tinny continues to push Des away, just like Leslie, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they do grow, and then she pushes him away. She gets afraid, but she's young. They do it like the writing is where it's this big hot scene. So, like for instance, with this one, they're driving around with a dead body, and they're filled with flour, the two of them. And the father's like, "Oh, I can't want to throw it, not in the car, And he has to. What happened?
My phone went wonky for a second.
Okay, it's okay. So I love when they do that because then they flash back and retell the story. They
do that a lot, and I really like it. That's a nice device.
At least once a season. And after they have that crazy scene, then here it is. They go back to the beginning where he is like such a hot mess because he's not with who he wants to. So he regresses, and he is, on the lawn. The father's like, where is he? And what's he say? I'm in the jungle or the something safari. And he's drunk laying on someone's lawn.
I thought this was interesting because this was a scene taken directly from the pilot with the whole different cast, but they did have this scene. So he pulled it and used it for another season. I thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm. Jan is saying, I go nuts with Des. At times he's like an idiot savant. Oh my God. That's
sometimes true. A little of him goes a long way.
Yes. So now in this episode, this actually comes first. When we finally get to the story where we get to the part where it was the very beginning that we got to see, And then they come to where she is asking him all these different questions. She's so ticked off at him because there's the body, and she thinks that he is got the hots for his client, and Leslie's calling him his girlfriend, and he goes like, oh, I like that you're a little jealous again, and she was having none of it. But she asked him all these different questions, and then he's got flour. Why do you have flour on you? He's like, oh, that's a different story in itself. And then the father is mad, and he's out there, giving Tinny what for. And then he opens the door and walks in. And Tinny says to Rose, why does he have flour all over him? She's like, that's a different story. He comes in, and that's when Leslie loses it. She goes, you Doyles, you walk around like you own the place. Look at him. Look how mad he is and what he's got on. It kills me.
You notice that
What?
Jake didn't get all that flour on his leather jacket. He wore something else that day.
Let's add that back.
Alan Halko said, no, not the jacket.
I know. Oh, I love it. I love how they do that. Now, this is the episode where Jake has a setback for real. This is when, well, first of all, the beginning that I thought was great, episode 3, is when the father says, your last client paid you in a belt buckle, and then you go to hockey, and he goes, you're the one that's gonna have to go over that's where they see Ned. Ned is in the shop. And I mean, Ned was everywhere. He cracks me up.
He and Finn.
Yes, Finn. I love Finn. But the thing is that Nikki calls him up because she wants help. And Nikki says, he's like, stop. Don't even go there. Don't do it. But he's talking her off the ledge, but he's still going to check him out. And he does. And he finds out that his pro bono client is or those massage parlor hooker women, right? And I even think, isn't his best friend, the lawyer, involved too? Like,
I think he was a customer.
Oh my God. Oh gosh. So there's something in here that comes to the end where she says to him, why did you do it? Like, you told me not to, and you still went and did it anyway. And he said, because even though we're not together, I'm always going to love you. And because I love you, no one can mess with you. And that's his thing. If he loves you, no one is messing. We see that even way further in.
You remember the car accident? Yeah.
Yes. We see that way further in, even later on after that, with other people that really hurt him bad. I don't want to give it a well. If we all have been there, and we all probably saw it all. Remember with the daughter? Like, yes, like or his brother, he took on his brother's debt. Like, if you cannot mess with them, he'll, but so I didn't like it that they end it with kissing, and we've Nikki and Jake.
Oh, Nikki
they slept together.
I know, but
in real life, she was pregnant in that episode.
I have the luxury of looking at it after I've seen the whole series. So things that if I was watching it in real time, how dare they? But looking back, there are things that I don't give as much credence to.
Okay, I love it because she would have her her file in front of her or whatever. That was funny. So
I don't know how she ended up with was it David?
Is that what his name is? The
lawyer? Yeah.
Divorce lawyer.
After Jake. I don't know how she would have ever been satisfied with that life.
Because
and I'm pretty sure she wanted quiet and predictable, but wanting it and experiencing it are two different things.
I know. I guess because she couldn't stand, because she was so crazy. She was very crazy.
And he didn't want her back.
No, when I first saw the series, I was cringing because she was such a crazy mess. She made me angry. Yeah. And I was like, Jake, why do you keep going back? Why do you keep going back? Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
Just such wonderful continuity, like I always say. I loved it.
Mhm.
Anybody have anything they'd like to add about these three particular scenes? Anything you want to add, Kathy? No,
I think you've covered everything.
we
I
did.
interjected my little comments.
We did. I go nuts. Oh, we already said that because he's an idiot savant. So the season gets even better and better. But so we have a question, right? We have a question and you can win a little prize, right?
Mhm.
Okay. It's hold on. I have to find out where it is. Anyway, I'm excited. Did we ask people to write in the chat? I don't know if they ever did. Would they write in the chat and say like who are some of the characters maybe from season 3 or actors, or would you be interested in the guy who does the special effects? Jan was saying, go ahead, Kathy. Can you see that while I'm
I
looking for
was trying to explain the series to one of my grandsons. It was confusing. I think you have to let them watch an episode or two. And if that it doesn't grab them, then it's just not the series for them. But this is a tough one to explain. What's it about? Or I was trying to tell some of my friends when I was out of town last week, I was trying to explain to them what Republic of Doyle is. And he was like, what's the premise? And I said, well, it's a father and son PI team. And they get on all these cases and all these eccentric I just could not do it justice. You have to kind of be there and watch it and see if it's up your alley. Christine said yes for special effects, dude. Mary agrees.
Okay. All right. So, who says it's either from episode 1, 2, or 3? Who says, I'm impressed with the way you communicate? What's that called? Synchronicity? He tries to come up and says the word. Who says that? I'm impressed with the way you communicate. What do you call that? Is it synchronicity? Do you know who it is, Kathy, who says that?
Mm-mm.
Oh, I hope someone gets it. I hope someone gets it.
I think I'd have a guess, but I don't know if I'm right.
Do I have to say it again?
It couldn't hurt.
Okay, so the character says, I'm impressed with the way you communicate. What's it called? What's the word for it? Synchronicity? No, it's not Jake. Let's see. Would love to hear from some. Yes, Alan Doyle or so. That's true. We will definitely
Those
reach
other
out.
Doyle boys, the
Yes.
Doyle and Doyle.
Yes, absolutely we will. Jake, nope, it's not Jake.
I
No.
just sent you a comment.
What happened?
I just sent you a comment. I don't. It's my guess.
Okay, let's see. No,
Oh, okay.
no, not from this episode. He's not from this one. It's from this.
Well, I thought you said it was from 1, 2, or 3.
It is, but he's in 4. Garrison Steele's in 4. Yeah. Okay. All right. Martin, you are correct. It is Martin. Yes. I wondered if it was the ex-husband. Yes. Martin says it. Rona, Rona just wins so much stuff. Rona.
Garrison Steele is in season 3.
He's in season 3, but he's episode 4. I was talking about episodes 1, 2, or 3.
I thought you were talking about seasons 1, 2, or 3.
No. And he's in almost every season at least
Yeah,
once.
he makes at least one appearance in every season.
Yeah. Yep, it's the ex-husband. It's Martin at the end where he says the two of them, you're really a beautiful couple. I really admire the way you communicate. What is that word called? Synchronicity. And they're looking at him. That's when they drug him. They drug his butt.
Didn't she drug him when she got him to sign the divorce papers?
No,
or did she just threaten him?
Stabbed him. I don't know. She did a couple of things, put the drugs out, did all kinds of crazy stuff to make him have to sign. All right. Well, this has been lovely. We went a little longer than we normally do.
Yeah.
And Rona,
I didn't like any of those episodes for the first half of the season, so we'll just skip over my part.
In-person wins don't count. Oh, I know that. I don't mean that. I'm just saying that you've been on a streak. Yeah. And Yeah. Christine's like she conned him. That's what it was. She did. It was good. She was all sexy and all I loved it. It was good.
Yeah.
Yes. So Rona, if you don't know this, but Rona didn't win this, but her son won the autographed photograph we had of Chris McNally at the party.
Oh, yay.
Yes. And I said, he's going to give that to you, right? She goes, I can wait for Christmas. Rona, since I have you here, did you find the church and did you go to Geets for some din din? Love your expertise. Oh, thank you, Miss Reed. This is Miss Reed. Miss Reed actually lives around the corner from where you were, Rona. Christmas gift. There's Miss Reed. There she is. Oh, gosh. All right. It is time for us to say good night, right?
It is.
It is. And should I bring with us me next time, or would you be interested in the recipe that I found, anyone? The recipe for the chips, which are really homemade fries, and it has the dressing, which is very much from Newfoundland, and it has a gravy over it. It's easy. I could bring it and show it to y'all.
I want it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Good night.
Good night, all. See you next week.
Oh, wait a minute. Know how to go to the Hampton Inn instead. You didn't stay at the hotel. Oh, Rona, you're going to have to tell me that story. What happened? The Holiday Inn is where she was going to stay, the Holiday Inn Express. She had to go to the Hampton Inn. Huh. All right. They're not far from each other. All right. Sorry. Sounds delish. Good. Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
All righty. As long as you make it. I will. Your Miss Reed won't eat one thing. She'll have one French fry. One little what is it? Chip. Oh, it was overbooked. Okay. All right. That's okay. Good night, everyone.